Hello and welcome to the African American Real Estate Professionals Atlanta chapter celebration of Women's History Month. My name is Jamie Brooks and I am the Programs Director for AAREP ATL. Thank you for joining us this afternoon in Atlanta or virtual for everyone else. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days for coming out and joining us for this absolutely amazing panel that we're about to have. This month it's focused on women, right? And so women are the backbone to literally everything that goes on in life, in the world. Behind every person, man or woman, is another great woman. So today is dedicated to women, okay? This afternoon, we have 4 amazing minority women who are dominating the commercial real estate industry in their respective sectors. And we are geared up for an amazing panel discussion with them and just talking about what the market is looking like from the point of view of the person that really does control the market. Little do they know. And with that being said, I'm going to introduce our moderator for the afternoon, our lovely, lovely president, Ms. Renata Bell.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. You are in for a real treat. So this webinar is our second event of the year, and it is also our second sold out event of the year. So we are 2 for 2, growing, and we're so excited. And as Jamie said, today you're going to hear from 4 powerful minority women in commercial real estate. They will share market insights from their respective niches within the industry, as well as a few moments from their own stories. So just hang tight and we will hear from our panelists in just a few. Before we get started, I want everyone to remember that this is a networking organization. So please drop your LinkedIn profile link in the chat so we can all connect with each other. I'm gonna drop mine in right now. Please connect. All right, so while you guys are doing that, I will give you a little bit of background about the organization. African American Real Estate Professionals was founded 26 years ago in Washington, D.C., with Atlanta being the newest chapter, founded in May of 2021. We have come a long way, but we still have a lot of growing to do. The mission of this organization is to advance current and emerging commercial real estate leaders from diverse backgrounds through exposure to industry resources, relationships, mentorship, community outreach projects, scholarships, business development, and career opportunities while providing a diverse talent pool to corporations and small businesses. Visit our website at www.AAREPATL.org to learn more. Membership is free until June, so be sure to take advantage. Join us today. Also, make sure you don't miss our next event at Monday Night Garage on March 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. This will be the official kickoff event for the Atlanta chapter of AAREP, and we will finally be in person. We are nearing our attendee cap, but we did decide to open it up. So be sure to register at www.aarepatl.org/events while you can. So Omicron kicked our butts there for a second, but we are back in business. So please come and hang out with us and have a little fun. There'll be some pictures, red carpet, all that good stuff. We have a whole bunch of surprises, a huge raffle. So make sure you visit the website and register while you can. All right, guys, so let's talk housekeeping. Keep your cameras on, keep your sound on mute, and you can unmute yourself during Q&A if you have a question, or you can type it in the chat. So are you guys ready to get into it? If so, please drop me a thumbs up in the chat. And I'll know that we can go once I start seeing thumbs up. Are we not ready? Where are the thumbs up, people? All right, thank you. Let's go. Okay, perfect. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, our Women in Commercial Real Estate, Women in Commercial Real Estate HERstory panel discussion begins now. I would like to welcome our 4 panelists, Beniquez Palmer from Choate Construction, Trina Joseph with Coro Realty Advisors, Mekina Raga with Capital One, and Tiffany Ryland with ARVO Realty Advisors. Welcome, panelists.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning or afternoon.
Thank you so much. Let's get into some introductions. Beniquez, would you mind introducing yourself and telling us what your role is in this amazing industry of ours?
Sure. My name is Beniquez Palmer, or most people call me Benny. I'm the Senior Pre-Construction Manager at Choate Construction here in Atlanta. We are a commercial GC that has done over 1 million square foot in interior build out for corporate real estate, whether that's office, schools, anything class A, B, or C type office building. So over 1 million square feet of that, well over 1 million square feet. My background is I have an undergrad in civil engineering, a master's in construction management, and have been in the construction industry for almost 20 years. So really excited about being here. Love talking to you ladies, and thank you for the invitation, Renata.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much, Benny. Trina, how about you?
Hi, first of all, thank you, AAREP and Renata, for the invitation to participate with my fellow panelists. Looking forward to great conversations. And as you said, my name is Trina Joseph, and I am a Vice President of Asset Management with Coro Realty. Coro's mission is to identify unique opportunities and provide the services needed to maximize and add value to those opportunities. I would give you square footage right now, but we're in the phase of buying and selling. So we have a diverse portfolio, including shopping centers, which are grocery anchored, and others, mixed use, storage, industrial, apartments, farms, and land. So my niche is, as the for Coro, is property management and mixed use facilities. Also, currently, I serve as CRE Atlanta's 2022 president-elect and will be the 2023 president when CRE Network National Convention will be in Atlanta. So I'm looking forward to all of you joining us during that time. So.
Thank you so much, Trina. That was wonderful. Mekina,
You're welcome.
Mind introducing yourself?
Thank you. Thank you, Renata. Thank you for including me. I'm excited to be here. My name is Mekina Raga. I'm a vice president at Capital One Business Banking. And we actually, a lot of people don't even know, like, Capital One is a bank. We expanded in 2019 to Atlanta. So I was one of the first ones that they recruited. I actually was at Bank of America for 15 and a half years in their business sector. So I'm excited about building this brand in Atlanta. Our niche is basically helping clients with their lending needs, expansion, and owner-occupied real estate.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mekina.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tiffany, how about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Ryland, and I am the Associate Director at ARVO Realty Advisors. We are a full-service commercial real estate firm. We're headquartered in Houston, Texas, with nationwide capabilities. And I am a second-generation commercial real estate professional. My father started this company over 38 years ago, and so my job is to keep him from retiring and to keep the company pushing forward.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. You do a great job at that, I might add. So appreciate the introductions, ladies. And I have personally seen each of their bios, and they are all impressive, to say the least. The women that you see before you are the epitome of humility. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. In the spirit of keeping the order of things, Beniquez, let's start with you. The market is volatile. Inflation is up on us, and pricing is all over the place.
Right.
Tell us about material escalation and procurement in construction.
Sure. So being in the construction industry now, like I said, about a little over 20 years in engineering, I've seen the highs and lows. So I saw the previous recession. I've seen what gas prices can do. I can safely say, and kind of like Tiffany was saying, I'm third generation construction. So I've seen it from the very beginning to now. This is the most volatile I've seen the construction industry as far as material costs and now labor. 72% of all commercial general contractors right now are concerned about labor. We've always been behind. We've never been able to keep up with the amount of labor that's needed to keep up with the industry. Right now, when we came out of the pandemic or coming out of 2021, all GCs are looking at how can we try to keep track of all of the pricing changes. For a point, we weren't even pricing new work, we were pricing just material. And we literally get notifications at least 10, 15 times a day on where the pricing is gonna hit, what we're predicting, how to try to pre-purchase products. So the one thing that I would tell anybody in commercial real estate right now is please partner with a GC that you trust to get some real information, because y'all aren't aware of what we're seeing. Y'all aren't, it fluctuates too much every day. And so because of that, you're doing a disservice to your clients if you're not partnering with a good commercial GC to give you some really good pricing information. The other issue that we're having with supply chain is even once the materials get here, we're going to start the labor is going to bottleneck. So that's where you're going to see the next price. So pricing of material may finally level out. It's never going to go back down. It's going to finally level out, but then now we don't have anybody to install it. And so that's where you're going to start to see the premium for labor go up. So the days of, a client saying, I'm just going to wait it out and see if pricing goes down, it's never going to go back that way. I don't care how long you wait. In fact, if you wait too long, interest rates are going to go up. So I'm saying lock in pricing on your long lead items. This is any of your glass and storefront, doors. Right now, I can't get appliances until the end of this year. HVAC equipment, HVAC duct. At one point, you couldn't get paint. So everybody thinks it's lumber. No, that's starting to level out. It's the whole goods that are at a shortage right now. So like I said, partner with the GC that you can trust to keep you informed, because it's no way no one else could see what we're seeing right now. You get memo. Every fifth email is a memo. And for every 5 jobs that we have open or 5 positions, there's maybe one person that can fill them. And we're in desperate need of labor to fill those gaps right now. So definitely those are my 2 recommendations as far as procurement and labor in the commercial construction side of things.
Benny, that is eye-opening and also jaw-dropping. So for that insight, very appreciated. Well, let's see here. Trina, you deal directly with investors and their assets. So what things are you seeing in the mixed use and retail sectors that we should know about? And also tell us what you see on the forecast.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, mixed use is here to stay. So in fact, it has been around a very long time. Fun fact, the most perfect historical examples of early mixed use live, work, play communities are probably the medieval villages of the 5th, 15th centuries. You think about it, they were densely built within towering city walls. The medieval village is the perfect example of a functional, productive community, incorporating all the rules of mixed-use development. This way of living not only benefited them socially in a variety of ways, but it also served to provide them protection as well, since the walls were able to protect the village more securely than if the villagers were all spread out like we have now with the single family homes. So, and then you remember the days of when people lived upstairs and worked in the business below or down the street. All these were early mixed use things. So it's been a long time, and it will continue. Today, now we are seeing malls converting to mixed use properties. Many are already becoming mixed use properties. Vacant anchor stores are being converted to fitness centers, co-working spaces, grocery stores, and clinics. As the population grows, there's a huge need for multifamily housing as downsizing goes together with retirement. This has led to both an urban and suburban multifamily building boom. Overall, parking areas in some malls are already being sold off, which we did one recently, to build apartment buildings and condos. And now, as more of the population will be working from home due to COVID, at least part-time, there is a growing demand by singles and working couples as well. Speaking of the two, and most of you probably read about this, where the North DeKalb and North Point malls, for example, are looking to convert to mixed-use developments. North DeKalb, they're looking at 300,000 square feet of retail space, 200,000 square feet of office space, and 150-room hotel. And also, as a part of that, is the 1,700 multifamily apartment units and 100 townhomes. So as you can see, they're looking for that community as well. Mixed-use developments also provide a myriad of attractive investment opportunities, which is key to stimulating economic growth. The diverse portfolio of revenue streams within such developments means that many investors are attracted to the diversity of risk. Instead of putting all of your eggs in one basket, as for apartments, not knowing how the rental rates are going to go, now you have not only diversified your risk, but now we don't even know the certainty of like industries such as the food and beverage, retail, entertainment. So with mixed use buildings, you have an offering of desirable mix of amenities for residents. And, so it helps investors as well. So one of the things after the last 2 years, I have learned that our fates are intertwined, and living in an environment in which we feel valued, respected, and looked after is vital to our overall sense of well-being. We're missing those Sunday dinners with our families and stuff like that. So by creating mixed-use communities that fulfill residents' daily and weekly needs, we can ensure superior living experience for all. Therefore, as real estate developers, our role is to create rich communities in which people of all ages, races, backgrounds can live a life that is most meaningful to them and the society as a whole.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trina. I mean, and I think that sense of community really kept people's well-being during the heights of the pandemic, having that, especially if you're in that mixed use development or community and you're not necessarily close to home. So you have a different type of family that you can lean on. So
yes,
a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Right. So Mekina, demand is robust, but vacancies are still relatively high. How are investors and owners responding to their debt service obligations? And would you say that owners are in the red, or are they on a positive trajectory?
So my niche is with business owners that are looking to occupy the commercial real estate for their business. At least they're going to occupy at least 51%. So with that being said, it's actually on an uptick. Like it's not, we're seeing more clients wanting to, instead of rent, purchase real estate, purchase their own business office locations. So, but more to say is as of explaining to them exactly what they need to do to be able to accomplish this, from where we based our approval on a global debt sketch, a global debt service coverage, where basically, a lot of people don't know, like, it's not only on your business side, we're looking on your personal side overall. So explaining to them, so I'll have clients from last year that might not have been ready. They didn't, from their taxes or something just wasn't right, and they didn't meet that actual number that we're looking for. So, but they're coming back to me this year and they're ready to, move on with that process. So I see it as an uptick after we're explaining to them what they need to do.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's news for the state of our economy. Upticks are always a plus. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Tiffany, you focus on brokerage and you split your time between Houston and Atlanta. What are some of the differences between the two markets?
Well, I used to think that Houston and Atlanta were one and the same. And I think we can all agree that Houston and Atlanta have definitely been hot markets for people moving from California, New York. They want to get the cheaper rents, the cheaper prices, the cheaper homes. So one thing that's the same about them is the industrial market on both Houston and Atlanta. I mean, it's robust. We see people coming in and they're looking to occupy every single piece of industrial property there is available. However, on the flip side of things, in the office market, Houston relied heavily on oil and gas for a very, very long time. And so our vacancy rates in office have been extremely low. And this year was no different. I mean, we're starting to climb up just a little bit, but we lost about 600,000 square feet when Marathon Oil moved out. And so now we still are dealing with the high vacancy rates in Houston. We're still seeing an increase in their pricing. However, we're still trying to fight to get people to come back to work and just get in the office. Whereas Atlanta, we're seeing Atlanta grow uncontrollably. We've had Carvana move in, we had Cisco. You guys have had quite a few large tenants move into the Atlanta market or renew or take advantage of that sublease market. And so I would say in terms of what's different between Houston and Atlanta, Atlanta has an amazing office market right now. Houston, we're still just trying to keep up. We're trying to get up there with Atlanta.
That's insightful. Thank you for sharing. Great news and something I didn't know that. I thought everything was bigger in Texas. So I just assumed that.
Well, I think we just have so much office space and we just don't have enough tenants to get in. And like I said, with those large oil and gas companies moving out, and some of them with Marathon Oil specifically, they went and they purchased their own building. So now they're just owner occupiers of their own building. Whereas, they left us with 600,000 square feet to fill up now. So that's what we're experiencing.
Thank you. It makes a lot of sense. So guys, I basically kicked my way through the door to get into brokerage, but everyone's story is different. So I would love to hear from the panelists how you each got started within your niche in the industry. And Mekina, would you mind answering the question first?
Yes. Well, I moved down here from Pennsylvania about 22 years ago, and I started working at Bank of America part-time while I was finishing up my undergraduate. I just always loved helping business clients, from just anything. I mean, it was just, they inspired me from the smallest things, from not understanding how to establish credit to wanting to, buy commercial real estate, and for being able to plant those seeds and walk them, and direct them into that direction. I was just very passionate about that. So then back in 2019, I thought I would retire with Bank of America, but in 2019, I was actually recruited through LinkedIn by the market sales executive in DC from Capital One. And just hearing, their vision of what they had planned for the expansion markets, how we were able to leverage more for our clients, even though we don't have any brick and mortar locations in Atlanta, it's just more for us to be able to give back from competitive interest rates to, from savings account premier rates. Like one of my first clients that I brought on board he was looking to refinance his commercial real estate. And I was able to, that deal would have never went through with Bank of America. And I was able to, get him over to Capital One, save him a ton of money, you know what I mean? And just for that right there, they're always grateful. They're referring clients, they'll just remember you, so I just love what I do. I'm very passionate about it.
Wonderful. Beniquez, how did you get into the industry?
So my dad my great-grandfather started a construction company back in Alabama, and my dad now operates it. See that light I told y'all about? And so now my dad and my mom actually have kept it going. It's more residential construction than anything, but it was kind of something I always knew I was going to do. Thank you. Knew that I was going to do. But no, I've always wanted to be in construction. I went to college for it, and I really enjoy. I actually like changing the stereotype about construction. A lot of people think, oh, GCs are out to get them. They have to get over on us. We're just some shady people. And I like changing the image of what that looks like. And I really like helping people that have tried to do it kind of on their own and decide to, you know, get a little bit of help. So that's how I got into it. And I started in the field. So for 11 years, I was on site full time with crews of upwards to 200 guys at one time. So it's just a passion for getting out there and seeing it get done.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, Tiffany, how did you get into the industry?
I was the exact opposite of Renata. I kicked and screamed to get out of the business. My dad and my mother started the company over 38 years ago. I tell him, he says 38 all the time. I keep forgetting. I'm like, we're at least at 40 now. But they started at the kitchen table with the Rolodex, and I saw everything from the good, the bad, and the ugly. So when I initially got an opportunity to get out of Houston, I went straight to Atlanta, and I was never doing real estate ever. That was not going to be my thing. And after working for a number of firms from Georgia Pacific to, I was Abercrombie and Fitch doing their rotational program, which lasted very short. I thought that was going to be a cute job. And I was like, no. Hawks cheerleaders, you know, Oppenheimer Holdings finance. Finally, I was blindly recruited to work 100% remote, which I thought I was going to love, for a top commercial real estate firm in the country. And it was probably right around the time when my mother got very, very sick that I recognized the trajectory of my career was not going to go anywhere. I was 100% remote. There was no one invested in developing me. I was to do my job, log out at 5 o'clock, and that was it. And when my contract was up, that was going to be the end of my career and the end of my job there. There was no dedication for me to grow within that organization. And so when I had the opportunity, I moved back to Houston to be a full-time caregiver for my mom while still working for that company. And I realized, you know, as my mom got sicker, one, they're not going to give you more than a couple of days to grieve the person that you've been with for about 28 years. And two, you're going to be short-lived. You're going to be there for another month or two before they kick you out and you have to figure out something else. So I already started getting my real estate license. And, you know, shortly after my mom passed away, I went ahead and finished my real estate license. And I tell people all the time that probably saved my life because I was not doing anything. You know, I didn't know what to do or where to go. Losing a parent was so traumatic for me. And so I just remember for an entire year and a half, the only thing I remember was going to real estate school, coming home the week of my dad's birthday and saying, I work for you now. And that was it. It's been history since then. So I ran from it. But when I was given the opportunity to get a taste of it, I recognized that what I had been seeing even early on in my younger years was not just the good things, but the beautiful part of just having a legacy passed down to me. So I got to see the good, the bad, the ugly, but that's a part of being an entrepreneur. So that's how I got my start.
Thank you for sharing. And I really appreciate your transparency because through your pain, you're inspiring people. So thank you for that. Yes. Okay. So guys, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about diversity and inclusion. As Black women in commercial real estate, oftentimes we're the only one who looks like you in the room. So what is the most challenging aspect of working in a non-diverse environment, if that is your scenario? So Trina, what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna also tell you real quick how I got started in commercial real estate.
Oh, I'm sorry, please do.
No problem,
Yes.
no problem. I got you. I started due to not having a daycare for my youngest daughter. And I decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And that lasted 30 days. So I started working part-time as a tenant service coordinator to replace her. And then, like they say, the rest is history. I was a leasing admin person. Then I started doing startups and then started doing property management, where I was continuing to do and had seen all phases of it and all parts of it, from office to medical to retail. Then about 6 years ago, I came here to Coro and I got under the wing of the late Patty Pearlberg. Some of you may have known her. She was a person that saw mixed use. I could do it because she said I had the skill set, which the property management portion of it, to do it. And that's how I got into this niche of my career. And now, like I said, I've been here now for 6 years as the only Black female, only female on our executive team. I have to remind my team and others in the industry, I'm here. I'm still at the table. I am not one, people will know me that know me. No, I'm not one to just talk to talk. I'm one that when I say something, I'm like the old commercial when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens, because I feel as though that the quality of what I'm saying is more than important than just blah, 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 blah. So that's one of the most challenging things. And I think I have gotten them to the point now, because recently I had an incident with a broker. Like I said, we're in the middle of selling and buying properties right now. And one of the properties we were getting rid of was mine. He kept leaving me off of emails at first. And then my president, to his credit, says, no, you got to deal with Trina. This is hers. So he did that. And then when he included me on the email, he says, I wrote it down. He says, gents, I have news, right? I said, so trying to be politically correct. I said, because I'm not one to give you 3 chances. 2 is my limit, because you should know by now. I wrote back, I said, thank you, person's name. I was typing an email now asking for the missing information on behalf of the gents. To this day, he is still apologizing. And one of the things I told him, and I tell everyone, is what I want everyone to be is aware of your audience and what the message you are trying to get them to influence them or just to say to them. So hopefully that is something that people could take away from this.
That is very powerful. Thank you for that. And unfortunately, we do constantly have to remind our colleagues that don't necessarily look like us that we're here. I'm not sure why, but we do. So thank you for sharing that, because that's something that we don't talk about. It's important. Tiffany, your situation is a little different, but I mean, you're still an African-American female tenant representation, well, just broker, commercial real estate broker. So you do understand where we're coming from. And I'm just curious to understand your perspective as a Black woman in commercial real estate, and what has diversity and inclusion looked like for you? What is your experience?
No, absolutely. So for everyone that's on this call, because we do work for a minority firm, some of the things that other organizations may display or other people may go through, we don't necessarily see within our organization. However, I will say one of the things that I think is very important that we remember is diversity and inclusion creates an atmosphere and an environment for people to have creative ideas and innovative solutions. And so if you do not have, there's a lack of diversity within your organization, it becomes stagnant, it becomes stale when there are major issues or challenges that come up within a transaction or even within a team. It's very difficult for you to see things and be able to solve those things without creating more challenges or without creating isolation within your organization. So I think just, having the mindset of we have to be diverse, we have to be inclusive, we have to think outside of our original box in order to speak to everyone a part of this team, as Trina was talking about. You've got to know your audience. You've got to be able to speak to them in a way that they can receive the message, but also you've got to be open to hearing that from other people as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. And Mekina, what about you?
Yes, well, I've been fortunate to work for a company that strive on diversity. So, one of the good things too, being a Black woman in the business development role with Capital One is I'm able to share a lot of information that sometimes they might not get it from, other places. Like sometimes it could be black and white, when it's being presented, but sometimes there's a gray, like it's a gray area. There's different things or different ways that we can structure or scenarios that I love to, and I don't want to say because I'm a Black woman, but I feel like a lot of times my clients that might look like me might not get that information if they were dealing with someone else, so I love to try to help, and being able to say, well, you know what, it might not work this way, but we can get it to work that way. And it might just take a couple more months, you know what I mean? So just sharing information and resources is what I can do right now.
Absolutely. I mean, creativity is birthed from diverse spaces. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me, and needs to be more of it. We could have so many more opportunities in our industry and without our industry as well. So, and Beniquez, what about you? What is your story with diversity and inclusion?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's never anyone like me on a construction project. I mean, you'll go into a job site meeting or a job site trailer, and there may not be even another Black male there. So usually it's just me. And so it's, first of all, not having any kind of mentors. There isn't anybody even, a lot of times, even higher than me or even a counterpart that I can, bounce questions off of. Sometimes it's being taken seriously. I'll never forget my first project. It was about 150 men out at the airport, went into the job site meeting. It was my meeting to run. And I sat down, and the guy next to me asked me, could I get him a cup of coffee? And I said, you know what? I don't know how to make coffee. My husband makes my coffee for me and brings it to me. So you out of luck getting a cup of coffee out of me. And ever since then, we've had a great relationship. We haven't had any other problems like that, but little things like that happen a lot. Down to the fact that sometimes PPE, your personal protective equipment, is meant for women. The harnesses that you have to wear fit in the wrong places. Your hard hat jacks your hair up and you just got it done. You gotta have all this stuff on, and sometimes it's just not equipped. They don't think to equip it for women. Even safety vests. It wasn't until last year that they started making safety vests that we weren't just using a man's small, that they were making them our size to fit our body so they're not hanging off of us. So little things like that you just don't think of that, can be kind of troublesome, or things that you encounter on the job site being the only woman or being a minority woman. And the last thing that can be a problem is sometimes being assigned to those projects that may have a minority client, being whole on just doing the projects that Spelman. Well, we got a Clark project coming up, or, things like that. And so you just have to make sure you're not pigeonholed in specific types of projects, that you can, be diverse and do different things within the company.
Absolutely. That's called putting some color on the deal. So, sometimes it's a good thing, but it's not the only thing. And I think that's what's important to realize and understand and accept. So thank you for that, Benny. So guys, a lot of companies, they have their ideas regarding what it takes to create more diversity in the workplace, but sometimes they just miss the mark. So what real advice would you give to corporations who are seeking to create a more diverse workforce? Trina, how about you? I think you're on mute.
Yep, I am. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So my biggest thing is to make sure you know why you want to be more diverse, a more diverse workforce, and what's your plan for the next 20 years. The marching has stopped, and what are you going to do next? Because to me, it felt like a fad almost, because everybody was jumping on the bandwagon at one time. But it's not a fad that will fade away as long as I have anything to do with it, because we have so much more to do here. So that would be my biggest thing, is to make sure that when they say, yeah, we want to be more diverse, what do you mean by you want to be more diverse? Do you want more women, more minorities, or both? And what's your plan for the next 20 years? Don't let it stop there. Also, post vacancies with organizations like AAREP, who can be that conduit for you. Work with Project REAP and become a mentor. You know, we can't hire everyone, but we can at least provide opportunities for others.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. And Tiffany, same question.
Yeah, so I would say three things. One, being intentional and strategic about what you're doing and about where you're recruiting from. You're not going to find salmon if you're fishing in a goldfish pond. So if you're looking to get diversity, you've got to go where diversity lives, where they breathe, where they eat, where they sleep, and you've got to be intentional about those efforts. The second thing I would say is being open-minded and dedicated to their development once you get that talent. A lot of times when you look at these large organizations, the individuals that are there are generational. So they've been around it, they've seen it. Those companies that are looking to increase diversity and inclusion have to be dedicated and open-minded to spending time, energy, and resources to developing that talent. You can't just pick them up from an HBCU, drop them in, and they flourish. They need to be nurtured. And then the last thing I would say is creating a culturally inclusive environment where your opinions and your ideas are celebrated and not villainized for being different. You're hiring diverse talent so that they can create a different idea, different strategic, creative solutions, not so that they can think and be like you.
Thank you for that. Mekina, what about you?
Yes, I believe that my company, we need to start getting more involved in our community. You know, we moved here, we expanded here in in 2019, but then the pandemic hit. So we haven't been involved in our community the way we need to. And I'm talking about, from the schools, to areas of like, unserved, like those different things, sharing education, knowledge, resources to provide to them, so that's what I would want from my company to start doing more.
Makes a lot of sense.
I agree with what Trina said. It's holding people accountable. We came out of 2020, 2021, real motivated. Companies all had D&I supervisors and managers. And I'm like, okay, now let the rubber hit the road. And I'm going to watch you. And I'm going to make sure that you do what you promised that you were going to do. And it's also, again, looking for those people and being intentional and finding that type of person to fit within your corporate culture, if that's an actual goal. And it even goes for us with subcontractors and vendors. A lot of them are smaller. A lot of them are working out of their home. A lot of them are family, like my family was. You're going to have to walk them through the pay process. You're going to have to show them how to get their insurance submitted right so they can get paid. They don't have time to wait 30, 60, 90 days to get paid. They got to pay payroll this week. And so you got to get in, you've got to help them do that. And you have to be intentional about it, because if once you get frustrated, then it all goes by the wayside. And so it's people like me that sit in the chair we sit in, holding people accountable, watching them, checking in, making sure that all these great plans you came up with when we were all out in the streets actually gets implemented now. And that's real important to me.
Yeah, because it's not about capability,
Right.
It's about a lack of exposure.
Exactly.
Know what you don't know if you've never seen it before. It doesn't mean you can't do it. So
Right.
They're lucky to have you. More of you is needed in our industry for sure, because we have a lot of issues surrounding that, and it's just a matter of exposure. Let's expose, and then you don't need your hand held the whole time. But in the beginning, yeah, let's help them cross the street. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for doing that and being a pioneer in that respect. And so, ladies, I have another question for you all. As African American females in our industry, we face a myriad of blockages, barriers, and so forth. But what is more problematic for you in your experience? Is it being a woman in commercial real estate or being a Black person in commercial real estate? Mekina, how about we start with you?
That's an interesting question. Good. I would say being a Black woman in this industry, because at the end of the day, you know, we're still, you know what I mean? Like, we are still a woman, you know, like I work with, my team is 5 men and I'm the only woman, you know, and I mean, they're all including me and say, oh, you know, she runs this ship or whatever. But I believe that I'm sometimes overlooked on different decisions that they're making at that time or whatever, you know, yeah. So I believe that being a woman and being Black, it's, you know, somewhat challenging in this industry.
For you, it's pretty much at par. Both of them are equal issues.
Yeah.
Understood. All right, Tiffany, what about you? What do you think?
So I think this is a really interesting question, because when I first got in the industry, there were a couple of instances that came about that made me go to my dad. I mean, one literally had me in tears right before I had to do an interview on camera. And I remember just telling my dad, you know, the problem is I'm young, I'm a female, and I'm Black. And, you know, I'm just like going on this rant. And he says, you know, in his kind of matter of fact way, he says, well, it seems like you got 3 things going for you in your favor. And I didn't think about it that way, because I always thought of it as a negative thing. You know, you're young, people aren't going to take you serious. You're Black, people don't think you're qualified enough. You're a woman, people think that you're supposed to go and get their coffee. Whereas my dad said, those are things that make you stand out. So when I'm in networking rooms and, you know, I'm out doing my thing, I typically look different than everyone in the room. And so it's actually something that draws people to me. They want to know, who are you? What are you doing? And sometimes it's, you know, well, what are you doing here? And you know where it's coming from, but it's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself and to put what you do on the table. So I've used all 3 of those things as an advantage for me. And, you know, I think Renata and I know, you know, the first thing you do, you want to look the part when you walk in the room, and people will instantly gravitate to you. So I've used all of those things as an advantage, as opposed to looking at it as a disadvantage, because Lord knows, at first I was so upset and I'm like, I'm never going to make it. And now when I walk in a room, I'm the most confident thing in there.
Love it. Yes. Cheers to the evolution. That's wonderful. I love that. Trina, what about you?
Well, for me, I don't think it's a problem either way. Neither. Let me just put it that way, because it's more problematic for others, especially in my positions, whether it's with Coro or with Crew. I have been the first and only Black in many areas of my life, whether it was one of the first Black to integrate my elementary school, only Black on Crew Atlanta's board 20 years ago, and now first Black of Coro's executive team. And my parents have always instilled in me to be proud of who I am and to keep moving. I can achieve anything and everything as long as my heart desires. So that's why I don't think it's problematic. Yeah. It's a problem for others, not for me. So.
Well, thank you, Trina. You just took us to church. I think we can that. Amen to all of that. I love it. That's beautiful. Embrace it. Embrace it. It's so important because it's you.
Yes.
So, preach. Yes, definitely. Beniquez, what is your perspective on this topic?
I would say 15 years ago, it was being a Black woman. Today, not so much. I kind of share with what Trina says. I was exhausted 20 years ago in construction, and it wasn't because of the work. It was because of that fine line, because you're going to get mad on the job site. Stuff isn't going to go right. Some's not going to show up right. And you can go Black girl, or you can go Black girl. And so you got to find that fine line, because you don't want to go too Black girl where they stop talking to you and now they got to walk on eggshells and they put you in that box. But you still want to let them know that I know what happened. This is how we're going to correct it, and let's move forward. So that tap dancing that you have to do in corporate America that we all do, you know, you have to put on your employed voice when you answer the phone. I can't talk to you like I would talk to you casually. your email. It was all of that became so exhausting at one point. But what I realized that once your experience catches up with what you got up here, and your reputation catches up with what you have up here, you no longer have to keep up with trying to be more than what you are. Be who you're gonna be, say it how you're gonna say it, professionally, of course, but I stopped tap dancing and I just was myself. And that really helped me to just move, really transition and really start to enjoy what I do. I actually like what I do.
I love it. You got to let them know that your dance card is full. A little more space for dancing. I love it. This is wonderful. So guys, I actually have a ton of questions, but I want to hear from the audience. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask our panelists? If so, feel free to take yourself off mute or drop your question in the chat. And if not, I have questions.
Hello, guys.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt someone?
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I don't have a question, but I do have a comment for the panelists. I think this has been very inspiring, and I'm in an industry that is notoriously underrepresented. Where Black women are notoriously underrepresented. Women, but especially Black women. Currently in information security, looking to make some commercial real estate investments. So I wanted to get you guys' input, and this has been very beneficial. I just wanted to say it's very inspiring. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just had a really quick question. But first off, I want to thank everyone for speaking, giving some real good insight on you guys' experiences and careers. But the question I had was for a young Black woman, what would be the, I guess, best career? Well, the best entry-level position to get into the commercial real estate industry?
I'll jump in on this one. I think that you really have to figure out what you want to do, identify the different parts of commercial real estate, because there's different ways. You have a number of people on this call. You have GC, you have somebody who is in lending, you have somebody who is in property management, someone who's in brokerage. So you really have to identify what you think you'd be interested in. I don't think that there's a proper way to enter. You just have to make sure that you identify what you want to do, identify a mentor, and just jump right in head first.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Okay. So we have some questions in the chat. Let's see here.
All right, I think we have a message in the chat. Let's see. Someone asked, what are some ways to stand out as a new employee in a large company? I think.
Do what Renata Bell does.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and answer that question. Yeah. Honestly, you have to be yourself, and you have to be comfortable with putting yourself out there. Because the thing is, in a large company, sometimes you're just a number, sometimes you're just a name in a database, and you have to be responsible for the output, for the outreach. People aren't necessarily just going to gravitate toward you. But when you start to be transparent, and Tiffany does a really great job with this, but when you're really transparent and you just put yourself out in on whatever platform and in whatever ways that are comfortable with you, you begin to notice people will start to gravitate toward you because you're sharing in transparency. So that's the advice that I would give.
I ditto that, Renata. This is Trina. I wanted to let you know to find ways, if there are special projects that you could get involved in. Not sure which area of commercial real estate you're in, and it could be a case of they might have different people from different areas on this group. Oh, you're in brokerage. Okay, perfect. So get involved, even if it's something that's dealing with the construction department or the property management department, because it gives you a variety of things to look at. And like Renata said, find that, and Tiffany said also, find a mentor that could help you navigate the ins and outs of this company as well.
And I have to jump, Renata is very modest, you all. But I have to let y'all know, Renata does a phenomenal job of creating initiatives that are going to make an impact throughout the company. And whether she has support or not, she's going to drive that thing home and she's going to give it every bit of everything she has. And she's putting out A-class information. She's putting out, everything that she does, everything she touches is gold. And she's not just looking to say, I'm going to do this. She says, I'm going to do this. She executes at a high level and she makes people say, hey, you know what? If we weren't on board before, we better get on board now because she's not going to stop. So, she's really modest, y'all, and I'm probably not even doing her justice, but Renata does a phenomenal job of just being able to stand out. She's not just a number. She makes an impact.
Well, thank you so much for this. This is supposed to be about the panelists, not about Renata, but thank you. I do appreciate that. And honestly, the way that I'm moving, you guys will learn this about me for those of you that don't know, it's really through passion. I'm so passionate about seeing more of us come into this industry, more Black women, more Black people. I want to see more diversity and inclusion across the board. So yes, I wake up every day and I fight for that. And in whatever capacities that I can. And then for the ones that I can't, I'm very intentional about finding that back door, if that makes any sense. I think we had a couple more questions in the chat, I think. Jamie, did you happen to see them? You guys have been amazing, by the way. This chat is turned up.
All the way. Someone asked how we can take advantage of the free AAREP membership, and I dropped the link in the chat. So if you just want to head over to aarepatl.org and sign up through our website, registration and membership is free until June, so please do. The last question we have is, actually for all of our panelists, are any of you all open to mentor individuals who are in the industry?
Absolutely.
I'm always open to it, but I'm also gonna be really blunt, and I want to know what the person wants out of the mentorship. Right. I want to be very intentional on what do you want to gain out of it, so that we can go there. My favorite leadership person, if you can ever get to see her, Carla Harris. Oh my gosh, mentor and sponsor. Yeah. Mentor keeps it real with you. Sponsor is the one that's going to take you to the next level. So I strongly urge you to go on YouTube, just watch one of her videos, Carla Harris, and let her define what those two are. And then you'll really start to understand what I mean by be intentional, what you want out of the mentorship. And then I can get you there. Like I tell my son all the time, he's 6. You can be whatever you want to be, baby. You tell me what you want and mommy and daddy gonna get you there. And I gave him my best motivational speech. I saw a white light behind me and heart music playing. I said, I'm gonna get you there, whatever you want to be. And he told me he wanted to be a lion. So I'm gonna tell you, I can't do stuff like that, but I know somebody somewhere else that'll help get you there. You just tell me what you want out of it and I'll try to get you there. So yes, I'm open to that as an option.
Listen, ladies, this is wonderful news to hear, because AAREP will be rolling out our mentorship program toward the end of this year. So I will definitely be calling each one of you guys. So good news. All right, guys, I think we're wrapping up now. So Jamie, you want to close us out?
Yes, I will. Thank you, ladies, for such an amazing discussion. I learned something new today. I'm pretty sure everyone else did. Ladies and gentlemen on the call, I have dropped our website in the chat. So if you want to take a look, if you want to join, like Renata said earlier, membership is free until June. You can also go to our events page and sign up for our kickoff event. We have our official first in-person event next Tuesday at Monday Night Garage at 933 Lee Street, Atlanta, Georgia, Southwest, from 4 to 7. So make sure you sign up, grab your raffle tickets. We'll have some prizes coming on. Also, make sure if you're not already doing so, follow us on socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of it is AREP ATL or African American Real Estate Professionals ATL. And with that being said, thank you all for attending this afternoon. We really appreciate you taking the time out to be with us. Panelists, we really appreciate your insight, the information that you've given us, and your expertise, and just being strong Black women in this industry, you know, because you got to make room at the table. I am the table. You all are the table, okay? And we appreciate you. So here are your flowers today. And if that being said, thank you all for joining us, and I'm going to give you back your afternoon. You all have a very beautiful Monday, and we will see you all Tuesday at Monday Night Garage.
Thank you,
Thank you.
panelists. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
audience.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Take
Thanks,
care. Have a
everyone.
great day, guys.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye.
You. Nice job, Jamie and Renata.
Thank you.